goes. Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Kim and this channel is KL Reads. So welcome to the BookTube Newbie Tag edition. I figured I would use this tag to get me through the first video because I'm really nervous to be talking to myself online and not looking at myself while I film, because that's a huge pet peeve of mine. I know people struggle with that, and I'm sure I will. So if you hear a little screech, I do have a cat named Dozer, not because he's sleepy, but because he's like a bulldozer, and he is down here by my feet, scratching, screeching away. He's not sure why he's not the center of attention right now. So we'll get right into the tag. Question number 1 asks, why did you start this channel? I would say the answer to that is because I love all things books and reading. When I was a youngster, I dreamt about being a journalist or an author, a writer of some kind. I loved books. I loved the book fair, the bookmobile, all of the different ways that books can touch the lives of kids. Now that I'm an older adult, I've spent the last probably 12 years going to thrift stores and collecting lots of random books. You never know what you're going to find in a thrift store. I also have, and I'm sure I'll talk about at a later time, a marvelous bookstore in my hometown. It has recently gone from being a small, cramped bookstore to a marvelous bookstore that has me just over the moon excited about what it's going to do for my town. So that's a very long answer to tell you that I started this channel because I'm looking for a way to talk about books with people. I have friends. None of them are readers, unfortunately, or readers of the books like I like to read. I do have a friend who reads romance after romance after romance, and I do read romances. Contemporary romance is something that I do like, but I don't stick to one genre. I move around genres. So I might read a classic, and then I might read contemporary fiction, literary fiction. I don't really enjoy mysteries and thrillers, even though I do tend to read some just to try to convince myself that I'm not missing something, because I know how popular they are. So I started this channel to find community. I've been watching BookTube channels for a long time, and I enjoy watching people share what they're reading, talk about their reading taste, talk about their reading habits, talk about how things change for them. And these are all things that I look forward to sharing in upcoming videos. I want to talk to you about how I read when I was a teenager, and how I read when I was in my 20s and 30s and 40s, and now that I'm in my 50s, how has my reading life changed? I think as we grow older, we learn a lot about ourselves, and suddenly last year I found myself turning 50, and I've been reflecting a lot on how I've changed throughout the years and how quickly the years go by. There's a lot to reflect on when you turn 50. So starting this channel is mainly to find community. So I look forward to exchanging. I look forward to hearing what you have to say in the comments and sharing some things with you in the comments as well. Question number 2, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? I've kind of already talked about them a little bit. Oh gosh, some fun and unique things. So I'm going to talk to you from a certain age, someone who reads very widely. So those are probably the most unique things that I'll bring to BookTube, and then the fun I'll have to try to work in along the way when I'm not quite so nervous. What are you most excited for about this new chapter? I have wanted to pull the seal off of this chapter for a very long time. Last year, or maybe even the year before, I filmed my first video for BookTube. I watched it and I can't stand the sight of myself on video. So I promptly dispensed with that idea. But I've been tossing it around for a while now, and I have started to err on nothing ventured, nothing gained, a little bit more than the fact that I can't stand the sight of myself on video. So what I'm most excited about is meeting like-minded individuals, finding community, finding people that will make me think a little bit more deeply about the books that I read, people who have read them and can share their thoughts on the books with me. I've always wanted to be part of a book club, and I've not been able to be part of a book club. Part of that is because I'm a huge introvert, which I think a lot of people on BookTube are, but I'm a massive introvert. And unless I'm leading the group, I'm very happy leading the group. I lead group presentations for a living, actually. So if I was leading a book club group, I think I would be fine, but joining a book club already in progress, I have difficulty with. So the next question is, why do you love reading? I love reading because there's a number of reasons. I love reading because it takes me out of my world and puts me into someone else's world very quickly, very easily, and I don't even have to put my shoes on or put makeup on or brush my hair or make any travel plans. I can feel feelings of a character. I can feel the heaviness of a situation. I can feel the lightness of a situation. I can cry with someone as they go through things that inevitably I will go through in my life. All things that I love about reading. What book or series got you into reading? I remember the elementary library, and books that stick out to me are the Boxcar Children, the original Boxcar Children, which I own a copy of, which I'm sure I'll show you at some time. That was one of the books that really got me into reading when I was young. I loved the silhouetted illustrations in that book. If you know, you know. It was a wonderful story, and it was also a story about children that were living on their own without any parents. This little family of brothers and sisters that I discovered living on their own and seemingly making their way made a huge impression on me when I was young. So I've always loved that book. That book definitely got me into reading. And one of the other books that I remember reading, I'm sure at least 2 or 3 years after I read The Boxcar Children, is one of Richard Peck's Blossom Culp novels, either the first or the second. I think it was the second. And Blossom finds herself on the Titanic as the Titanic is going down. And I had an idea of what the Titanic was at that time in my life, and picturing that in my mind's eye, I was just enthralled at what was happening in that book. And I don't own a copy of that book now, but I have owned a copy of that book throughout the years. I gifted it, and I'm sure I'll get another copy of that book at some time. But those two books, and they are both part of a series, The Boxcar Children and then Blossom Culp. I think there's at least 4 books. I know I read the first 2. I'm not sure I went any further. So those 2 books got me into reading. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? I would ask my favorite booktubers how your reading life has changed over the years. I know for me, mine has changed quite a bit. I referenced that earlier, but I'd like to know how your reading life has changed through the years. I'd like to know, do you prefer hardbacks or paperbacks? I'd like to know, do you feel bad when you buy used books because you feel like the author's not somehow getting credit for it because it's a used book? And I ask this because these are all questions that I've asked myself and things that I've thought about through the years. So, and then also favorite booktubers? What do you want to see out of your fellow booktubers? What are some things that you're interested in learning about all of us out here? That's always going to be interesting. I know there are always new tags that people are coming up with that are awesome ways to share things. And yeah. So it's a pleasure to meet you all. I will look forward to meeting with you all again and starting to share some of my reading life with you. So thank you for paying attention so far. If you're still with me, put the stack of a books emoji in the comments section, or say hi. Let me know your channel name so I can subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.